What's up, guys? This is your girl Coco. I want to welcome you to another episode of Kiki with Coco. If you are new to the show, just to give you a little bit about it, the show is about life in general with an emphasis on relationships. No, I don't have all the answers, but the people that I bring on the show, I hope that our perspectives can give you some insight to help or maybe just guide you through your journey. Today's episode is about being a man's place of peace and what that means. And so today I have one of my longtime friends, Deebo. He goes by a number of names, but we're going to call him Deebo today. Deebo, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, let me just first start by I have a number of aliases for various reasons. I ain't hiding from nobody. Just the different journeys that I've gone through in life. Like I grew up as Donnell, became Debo, just I guess from being bigger than all my friends, and then I evolved into who my I guess my alter ego now is DJ Superman. That's what I do on the side. And DJ Superman is a alias that I came up with because I think I spend a lot of my day as Clark Kent. I'm a teacher, so in that mode, like when I'm able to be DJ Superman, like I'm not Clark Kent. Rarely do I have my glasses on while I'm DJing. Like I get to be somebody completely different while I'm.
And so DJ Superman, or Deebo as I like to call him, also is the person who produced my intro and outro. So I appreciate you for doing that for me.
Okay.
I definitely didn't know which way I wanted to go as
Yeah.
far as having an intro or if like actual music or if I wanted to just be like, yo, this Kiki and Coco. But
Yeah.
I heard the
Uh,
beat and I was like, yeah, I need that.
yeah. I appreciate that. My finance department is probably gonna get together with the for the invoice to send you. So
See,
you know,
See, no, you can't do
uh,
that because I asked you
yeah,
before you even sent it to me. How much?
yeah, it's above me now. So yeah. And then I'm seeing it all, all the different podcasts like you in here week after week. So I'm just gonna capitalize what I can. So I'm gonna send you an invoice, but I ain't gonna get crazy
See how people do you? They tell
though.
you
Just
free and then turn around and be like, pay me.
yeah, just
But
5 zeros, you be all right.
but just to give you guys some background on how Deebo and I met, it was my freshman year of college at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And you were going for what, your second bachelor's degree?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he is a Kappa, and I was at a probate, and he was, what was you like, big brother or what they call that?
I was a dean of pledges
Yeah, and
for
he was,
that was ooh, fall '06.
yeah,
Yeah,
fall
fall
'06.
'06.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And he was going in, and I was like, I have to meet this man. And and so I didn't meet him that night, but I had another friend, like maybe in spring of '07, who pledged Kappa. And
Another
he,
school, completely different school.
yep, he went to a totally different school because Chicago has like a city chapter versus like just a school chapter, right?
Right.
So when he crossed over, he was like, you need to come to the after party. Like, I'm mad you wasn't at my probate. And I was like, dude, you never even told me you was crossing. So how was I supposed to know to be there? Like, I don't keep my ear to the street like that. So he was like, yeah, the after party at this place, whatever, whatever. So I go, and lo and behold, it's at
Lo and
Deebo's house.
behold, lo and behold.
And of course, me not being the shy individual that I am, all I needed was an introduction, and I was like, "What's up?"
Let's say through the night, like as guests began to leave, as people began to leave, you became less and less shy. Like it wasn't like, hey, came in the door like for the party. It was like
Of course not.
everybody about to go. What's up? Hey, yeah, probate from last year. Oh yeah, I remember. Like 3 hours later.
But the introduction was made, and I made myself known.
There we go. I'll say that. I
Regardless
can't
if it
argue that.
happened at the beginning of the night or the end of the night, we met.
I can't argue that one. That's true.
Yes. And over the years, we have definitely been good friends. Appreciate his friendship, his point of view. He helped me with some schoolwork here and there. So appreciate this nice, educated individual.
I keep you on your toes regarding what do I always check in on you about?
Yes, you always check in on me, so I appreciate that.
I always tell you the difference from when you at work versus when you're in the street. Like I notice whatever you doing with your hair, I'll be like, oh, she must be at work today.
He is the one who calls me out during the work week, and on the weekend he be like, "Oh, I see you ain't at work."
Right. She on pass today, so she put in leave. Like, okay.
Or he be like, "Oh, I see you back at work."
Well,
I be on my raggedy mode.
That bun be letting me know.
And Deebo was also in the Army at one point.
Yep.
Yes. So
interesting experience.
Yes, the military is always an interesting experience. But I think it got you to some decent places where you wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. You learn. I've seen people not take full advantage of what's offered. I've seen people gung ho and retire. I mean, I think as cliche as it sounds, like when people say it's only what you make it, like it really is. It's what you make it. Things happen. It's gonna be new to anybody that steps foot on any military installation. The way they do things is gonna be different. The people that you're around are gonna be different than whatever you've been used to. So it's a matter of being willing to adjust and adapt, and then it becomes like what you make it. Like you could sit down there and complain and cry. Oh my God, I'm from Chicago and I'm in Leesville, Louisiana. Like, but you make the best of it, you know?
Oh, that is definitely how I felt being from Chicago and Little Rock. When I got them orders, I was like, who lives there? Why would they send me there?
Nobody.
Nobody. But
they got a mall.
Huh?
They got a mall. That's all
they had when I was leaving, they was building up like a nice outdoor mall. I wouldn't say it was like upscale, but it was definitely better than the mall that was there currently at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I went to one club there and I felt like it gave me Bella Noche vibes. Like and
if you can't go to Bella Noche's, where the hell could you go?
Oh, right. So I felt like every time people ask me, I was like, I think I went to Bella Noche's when I was in Little Rock. But I don't know.
But what was you doing in Little Rock? Because who goes to Little Rock?
Oh man, let's talk about it. So where are you stationed currently?
I am in the UK right now.
So have you like stayed put in the UK?
As far as
like when on your downtime, are you like, I'm gonna do whatever I can do in the UK? What do you do?
So when I am not working and when we were not on the, shutdown or whatever, I would be up in London from time to time. That's like 2.5 hours away.
There we go.
Me and my homegirls was just talking earlier about how we can't wait for the lockdown to be over so we can get to London and turn up. Also because, travel is fairly cheap over here. I've been to Croatia, Germany, France, Amsterdam, and then hopefully once this is over, I think we may try and go to Mallorca just on some, we need to be on somebody's beach type vibe. So I will definitely say being in the UK has been very nice to me.
So to answer your question, what was I doing in Little Rock?
Yeah.
I wasn't stationed in the UK. I was stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So on my downtime, I would frequent places like not as lavish as London or anything like that. Houston, Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's really nice. Lake Charles. I like Lake Charles. Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Uh, we went to Palm Beach a couple times. Where else? Just as much of a road trip. It was guys, of course. So as much of a road trip we could take uh, and tolerate, like we would do. So we went to Little Rock one weekend early on. Never went back.
Mm-hmm.
Never went back.
Yeah. I mean, out of the places that you mentioned, none of them sound too bad except for Little Rock. Because
Yeah.
honestly, if I had an option, I would never have set foot in Little Rock.
Yeah. That I would have driven through Little Rock.
Exactly.
Freeport is a surprisingly nice place.
It
Like,
is. So I have
yeah,
family in Monroe. So when I was in Little
yeah,
Rock, I would go down there to Shreveport and like party with them and stuff. So yes,
yeah. They got
Shreveport is
nice.
actually a decent little town.
Yeah. I got my Shreveport story is that's why I don't drink Jaeger bombs.
That's
Shreveport. We
so
were in
nasty.
Shreveport. Exactly. We were in Shreveport in August of 2004, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it's hot, right? So
It's
my
hot as
boy
hell.
man, I can't think of the little strip. It's kind of like Beale Street, where they like you can walk with liquor and all that. Like it's like
Yeah.
a fake little Bourbon Street, whatever. They little section.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk through with drinks, bars, and all that. And he was like, man, be cool. I'm like, man, you talking to, man? I know what I'm doing. I'm what? On the back. I got cold. My body just started shivering like.
Lord.
I said, I'm gonna go ahead and take it back to the room and just take a little rest, while when y'all come back. I'm gonna be ready. So I was like, I don't want them to come in. They come back late.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want them to come in and like I'm sleeping. I missed out on something, right? So I put the latch on the door. I didn't want them to come in like, get in there. You missed it like the whole time of life because I'm knocked out with it. So I had the latch on the door. I woke up with the sun in my eyes. Like, I never got up. Woke up, sun in my eyes. One of my homies laying right here next to me. Other two laying on the other bed. Two laying on the floor. The door is off the hinges. They said they
What?
banged on the door for an hour and then finally just said fuck it and kicked the door off the hinges.
Lord.
That was August 2004. You can't pay me to drink Jägermeister.
Mm-mm. I've only drank Jaeger once. And that was actually recently, this past year, and it was just one. So I don't like licorice. So when somebody told me Jaeger
Yeah,
tastes
that's what
like
it tastes
licorice,
like.
I was like, nah, I'm
Yeah.
good. So I was in London actually on a date, and we ran into somebody. Somebody heard me talking and they was like, oh, are you American? And I was like, yeah. are you? And he was like, yeah, I'm from Boston. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. I'm from Chicago. And he was like, well, I have to get you guys a drink. What y'all want? I was like, well, I'm here for a Hennessy, whatever. And he was like, no, we got to take shots. I was like, I'm not really a fan of shots. He was like, come on, we have to take a shot. So he's like with his friends. I think he had like some type of fellowship or something in London. And so he was with some of his classmates and they're like, we got to do a Jaeger bomb. And I'm like, I'm afraid. I don't want to do a Jaeger.
Yeah.
But we did it. It wasn't bad for just a one-time thing. It was like, okay, it was nice meeting you. Appreciate it. Good day, sir.
Multiply that. Multiply that by about 4 or 5. Right?
See, that's where you went wrong.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was one of my many military stories that I've ever.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to go ahead and get into the Kiki session this week. And I think since the quarantine, everybody has kind of been on celebrity, as far as celebrities go, like giving us kind of like concerts low key or whatever on IG Live. I know you've done some DJ sessions that I've sat in on, just getting a feel good vibe, giving people some hope. And so last night I had intentions to watch the Erykah Badu and the Jill Scott versus last night. And I didn't catch it from the beginning, but I did get like the end of it kind of like, but it was still a good vibe. And I was just like, damn, I wish I had seen it from the beginning because it was dope. It was like just a super feel good moment.
Yeah, like it was a vibe, like completely different. You've seen other ones, right?
So the only other one I've seen or cared to watch was the Babyface and Teddy Riley one.
See, yeah, like you gotta see the growth in it. Like from seeing all of them, I feel like this was the most mature one, and man, it might speak to because it was the women doing it. One, so the very first one that I saw was The Dream, and of course,
was it Sean Garrett?
Yeah.
But see, I heard Sean Garrett was being like real disrespectful.
Not
during it.
So I won't say he was being disrespectful. He was probably incoherent. Right? And so think about how you could say Babyface was being disrespectful, right? But he was being disrespectful on some like he's being petty, right? Because he had the upper hand and I'm son of him. This is my older brother.
Yeah.
I don't think that there was a song that Sean Garrett played that Dream didn't have a smash for. Like he killed that.
And I've always been a Dream fan, so I definitely wish I had saw that because
I think it might be on YouTube.
It probably is because that's how I ended up seeing Babyface and Teddy Riley. I didn't see that on live.
So he was like in a whole nother space or whatever, and just in terms of like looking at this, even going into it, the Dream was like, yeah, we're gonna play. We're gonna donate 25,000 to. I want to say it was like essential workers or something like that. And he was like, I got mine. I can pay yours if you need to, or I can let you, you know what I'm saying, get your weight. Like he basically was like, I can let you get your weight up first.
Yeah.
Like jab, because he like, nigga, you came at me, so I'm finna show you like this ain't that heat. But then I ain't gonna lie, Sean Garrett had some joints. Of course, they got Beyonce songs. So now what I did like was the direction. It started to shift because it started out as like, nigga, I'm better than you. My catalog is better than yours. I'm gonna kill yours, song for song. Jonte and Neo, they kind of shifted the culture of it because it was like I wasn't afraid to be like, and it was good for black men in this regard because it was like I'm not afraid to be like, damn, I remember when you wrote that. I remember when they came out. Nigga, I wanted to be on that song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so they were like, whoa, oh, you did that one? Oh man, man, boy, like, and they would be singing it too. Like
Mm-hmm.
Jonte got that shit, but Neo had that shit too. When he came with that Irreplaceable,
Mm-hmm.
that was his like boom, his legit.
So I will say I'm not a Neo fan. Like I
Nah,
don't necessarily like the music that he puts out himself, but the music that he does for other people, I'm like,
exactly.
my like, yes,
Yeah,
you did that. And then when because I didn't know what's his name, Jonte?
Jonte Austin.
Yeah, so I didn't know who that
Yeah,
was prior to
yeah, a lot
this
of people.
popping
Yeah,
off.
a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, so
But
when I
yeah,
saw like the songs that he did, I was like, I love that
yeah.
song.
He had a little. I want to say he was in a little group for a second, but he's always been Jermaine Dupri, man. Like always been right for Jermaine Dupri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jonte. I want to say he wrote like early Usher stuff. Like that's who was really like helping Usher early in the game. Either Jonte Austin or Dallas Austin. I'm trying to
Well,
think.
I could imagine it being Jonte Austin if you said he worked with Jermaine Dupri because when Usher first started, he was with not So Def, but he worked with Jermaine Dupri.
Right, he was with LaFace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I used to think Usher was my cousin. He's like, that's my cousin. I be sorry to tell you, that's my cousin. So, and then going back to it, who else? We had Lil Jon, and T Pain. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just for the strength of like what the songs was about.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Definitely. I ain't charge this to my head. Well, you can charge it to whatever. The DJ Premier and Raekwon, even as a DJ, was like, I'm cool, man. It was a snoozer, like,
Yeah.
eh, it was a snoozer. And they were just doing too much. And the sound was ridiculous, because the sound was ridiculous for Lil Jon and T Pain. They had to work on that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were trying to make sure the sound was good for Raekwon and Primo. And it was just doing too much, like, because both of them are DJs. Like, they wanted to give me a thumbs up when you 3 seconds off so I can blend my song in. It's like, man, we in two different states. Like, just play your song, you
Yeah.
know? So that one was a little, and the hiccup with Teddy Riley and Babyface made the anticipation much more, so that when Babyface was sunning him, like,
Mm-hmm.
it
So
was even
I
more of a
will
thing.
say I don't necessarily think that Babyface and Teddy Riley are in the same class of songwriting.
I can
Uh,
understand that.
because Babyface write like a lot of love songs.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have like a lot of club bangers. So, and I didn't even know Teddy Riley produced music outside of Blackstreet.
Oh, for
So,
real.
yeah. So
Because
then it was just like when
you
I find,
apparently you 19.
huh?
Apparently you 19 years old then.
Facts.
That's
Even
what
though
you
I
telling
know
me.
all his music, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know he wrote them.
Mm-hmm. You a
So,
19. You a 19-year-old. So
whatever,
that's what it sounds like.
whatever.
Okay.
So then when
Learn
they
something new
going
every
hit
day.
to hit, I'm just like, yes, I love that song, Teddy. And it was just like, but then I love Babyface too. And it was just like, yes, sing to me, Babyface. And
So
then
what direction was you going?
I don't have a pick because I really
You know
like
who
them
else I
both.
forgot? You know who forget? Manny Fresh and Scott Storch. Did you watch that?
I told you I only seen Babyface
Oh yeah, that's right.
and
That one was
Teddy Riley.
yeah. That was a lot of there was definitely a lot of shade in that
Mm-hmm.
one. Because Scott Storch was like, that's cute. But you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? But with Manny, like people realize like if there was no Manny Fresh,
it wouldn't be
ain't
no
no
Cash Money.
ain't no exactly. Ain't no cash. Ain't like, oh yeah, what Scott Storch was doing was like, oh, you hot? Let me give you another single or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I can't think of anybody who wasn't already on or who wasn't hot and did a Scott Storch song and it's like, oh, this is what we needed.
Yeah.
Nah, this was just like mild sauce on the hell chicken already. You know what I'm saying? The
Yes,
chicken gonna be
mouse.
fine, but put some mild sauce on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a lot of so going from the baby face to the Jill Scott was like a breath of fresh air for real. Just like how you described it, like it was a vibe. It was a vibe. Like she kicked it off with spoken word. Like she
Yes.
was playing. I was just
I've
like,
never seen Jill Scott in concert, but I've seen Erica Badu twice. And when I say, like, I love Jill. Like,
mm,
Jill will touch your soul. You know what I'm saying? Erica Badu, she'll put you on another plane. But like Erica's voice is just, it's something different. Like
like she
her,
don't even. It's like she don't try.
yeah,
Like
she don't try. Her
yeah,
notes is different. Then to get that like back to back, like just feel good every song was, and then the
mm-hmm.
upliftment, it was like, yes, queens, turn, yes, give it to me.
yeah, yeah. She and I would say I that was one of the first CDs I got. I may have been either in eighth grade or freshman, but it was '97. Um, and I was just like, she different, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
then and on, I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. And what really changed it because I was big on videos then. The next Lifetime video,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's kind of because I was just making the connection with the growth from Outkast with Andre 3000.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just see. Okay, he's like kind of out there, kind of out there. Okay, but he's a talented artist. And I think like being in that space where I recognize that in him, and then seeing that shift to her, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, this is how it looks on the female side.
Yeah.
Like,
So like I definitely see how both of them influenced each other
right,
musically and personally. Cause
right,
when we were coming up, like videos was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I was sitting here with my girls earlier today watching, well, not necessarily watching videos, but it was on YouTube.
yeah,
But you know, people still make
being
videos or
around,
whatever.
yeah,
And it's been some songs like I don't literally feel like I have really watched or paid attention to videos since like 106 and Park with AJ and Free.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? So to actually like sit here and watch videos, I'm like, damn, I ain't never seen this video
yeah,
before. You
at
know,
all, yeah,
and I feel like videos are a lost art, but videos was also before social media was a thing. It was our outlet to the artists.
that's why the what World Star Hip Hop probably one of those people would post their videos on World Star, not necessarily fight videos and all that, but like their songs because it's
Mm-hmm.
like this is a platform where I know people are coming to watch videos. I don't necessarily have to search for it. I might get exposed to it. Like, oh man, I didn't know. Let's. I didn't know Kelly Rowland made a new song. Oh man, Coffee, let me check it out. Like just using World Star for an example. Like, and then you get to see that, and then you see the song. And it's like, oh man, you make that connection. But going back to Erica Badu, like I felt like I grew up on her more, and
Mm-hmm.
then I remember that like shift in neo soul, like, and I was like, I went with that movement. Like, I
Yeah,
just felt
like
like,
music and
yeah, I just felt like that
yeah.
wasn't me, you know. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just like, I went to Jill Scott. I went to two Jill Scott concerts
Mm-hmm.
as an adult, though. Like in the last
Yeah,
2 years,
yeah.
I've seen her twice, live, twice. One time was the B103, like what is the block party or whatever at Northerly Island.
Mm-hmm.
She killed that. She was the headline. BBD was there too. That was dope. Nelly, SWV. Like it was one of those. But she was the
Yeah.
headline. And then I drove all the way to the Ravinia to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And Ravinia, that's beyond standing room only. You ain't gonna see the stage. You
Yeah.
just hear everything, and you in there, and she just singing her heart out. Man. So I
Mm-hmm.
got that appreciation for her, but I knew going in like I aired for my G, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I
So
had that.
I will say, like, being a kid, I wasn't Like I used before I got into music like that, and I still don't think I'm like a strong music head like most people, but I can listen to the words and understand and relate to what they saying. So as a kid,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, if the beat good, then it's a bop. You know what I'm saying? But now it's just like you really listen to the words and really get feel the vibe that they in. So when Jill had came out, because even when Erica Badu was out, like first came out or whatever, like I don't necessarily think I understood the concept of like neo soul or I just thought she was R&B, but her style was definitely different from
yeah,
any other type of R&B. And then
yeah,
Jill came on the scene, and like you said, like neo soul, like I was into it, like the mainstream neo soul, but not necessarily like getting in the weeds of it,
yeah.
And now, like hearing the verses last night, I was kind of just like, yes,
Yeah.
like I understand what you're saying, I feel what you
What
feel,
you, yeah, yeah.
and yeah, like it was just a different feeling be like hearing it.
Do you think so? Thinking about that, right? Let's throw a. So you said you were a Jill Scott fan
Mm-hmm.
before. Like throw a Jill Scott song
Um, what's the name of the song where she be like, "You owe me, you."
out.
Yeah, that song.
It lights me up. Hold on, what is it? Hold on. We humming it.
I'm looking it up now.
Uh,
He loves me, Lizelle and He loves.
yeah. He
Yeah,
loves it.
yeah.
He loves it. Right. So let's say that. Let's look at that. Right. 2000 came out 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel there's two ways that can go? Do you feel like she wrote that song in a place where she was in 2000? It was like, I hope in time enough people can like understand what I mean by this and understand where I was going with this, and then it becomes timeless. Or she's like, this is for what women or people in relationships or people who have people that they desire are going through right now, and this is what I'm speaking.
I feel like when Jill is singing or making music, I feel like it's about whatever place she's in at that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
if you gravitate towards it, then cool. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like she necessarily put music out for what's hot right now.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
this song specifically transcends through time
There we go.
because you talking about something that is always going to be.
Yeah.
People always going to be in relationships. You always going to feel butterflies when you initially start dating somebody, or when you have that long time love, like being able to relate to how your love has grown over the years. So she's singing about a feeling that's always a possibility.
And it's timeless. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get you. I get you. That was you answered the question. How did I become a journalist? I ain't know. Yeah. I'm answering questions.
We having a conversation. That's what this is
You're right.
about.
You're right. But yeah, I think that's what she does. Like she makes that music, and I think she's not gonna make it not if it doesn't have if it doesn't have staying power. Like it ain't gonna be a song.
Yeah.
Like I think she knows that if I'm saying something, it can impact the moment, but you can also look back at the moment and be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, girl, remember that Jesus Scott song? Remember I was gonna kill that nigga?
Yeah.
'Cause,
Or
ooh,
like
like,
sometimes you hear a song and you be like, I remember what I was doing when I first heard this song. Or
yeah,
like a lot of songs, I can always say when it came out based on what I was doing in my life at that point. Like I feel like around the time we met, Buy You a Drink was
Yeah. It was buy you a drink and
because I feel like the
I'm
Kappa
a flirt.
stayed dancing off. Yes, they
I'm a
stayed
flirt.
strolling off them two
Mm-hmm.
songs.
Buy you a drink, and I'm a flirt because,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, Spring '07. We were driving down to because Chris and them crossed in what? Well, that was April, and we wound
Yeah,
up
I
going
want to say
to
it was like
DC when he
April.
crossed. Yeah, we went to DC like a week after he crossed. But
Mm-hmm.
then the Noops, shout out to TG Noops, '07 Noops, when they came back because they were gone for a minute. You remember my roommate Marquise?
Kool-Aid.
No, Kool-Aid. Yeah, Kool-Aid. Remember I had the other roommate Marquise?
I don't think I knew him.
He probably was working.
Yeah,
But
like he
Marquise
was
was
never
from,
he was never around.
yeah. He yeah, I think that was when, yeah. So Marquise was from Eastern. He was the last line, '02. And so it was
Mm-hmm.
a gap, '02 to '07. So when '07 came back, we were like, we jetted down. And I remember we were in the car and Keith was like, T-Pain be like, I say, como se llama, baby, me llamo Pain. What's your name? I was like,
My
I
name's
didn't know what
T-Pain.
he said. Yeah, I was like, I didn't know what he said on there. He was like, man, we strolled off that song for years. And ain't nobody, I never knew what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But listened to that in 2007 going down to Easter. Yeah. Buy you a drink and what's the other one you just said? I'm a flirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the joints at that time.
Definitely.
And now
Yeah.
you're drunk because the Kappas provided a lot of libations.
I did not drink like that in college. The only time I remember drinking, and I feel like this was probably maybe right before we met. I think the AKA the Sigmas threw a party. And I remember somebody had some Blue Label and a bad night because I got put out the party for underage drinking.
Yeah.
And
and like how who were you fooling? Like who thought like she probably legal. Like fam, you all of 4'11". Like a freshman in college, we probably like, man, she still go to Morgan Park, man. Nah, yeah.
anyways,
That's why it took a whole year because I was like,
no, I met you my freshman year. It wasn't no whole year.
Yeah. Wait. The probate?
The
end of it. You right. Yeah. Spring. It was fall '06 and then spring.
Yeah, when I
07,
initially saw you, and then spring '07 when we met.
A lot of liquor.
But I remember that party specifically, and even though I was drunk, I remember Beauty Is Her Name was playing and the AKAs was strolling, and I was just like, this is my song.
That's probably why they put your ass out. You start crying and shit.
But
you probably like, they've been playing this at my prom. Like, you was a baby. People like, you don't get out of here. I danced to this at prom.
Whatever. It was a good time, a good party, a good night. And yeah, but I will definitely say music is one of those things that brings people together. It brings peace. I know Jill and Erica definitely brought that vibe to the universe. I know a lot of people was like, I needed this for my sanity.
Yeah, because it wasn't you. I don't even know what the score was like.
I don't even think it was a score. I think people was just so enamored by the vibe itself that wasn't nobody like, oh, Jill killed that or Erica killed that. Like, I just think it was one for one.
That's hilarious. That was one favorite teacher work. I talked to I was talking to a parent just about like I didn't want to say like yeah the problem is he has a crush on her like because then that would have been like too judgmental. I was like, well, I can see in class like this during the lesson like he's truly enamored by like what she does, and the mother was like, what you mean he enamored of her? He likes he likes he likes it. I picked up on that. Picked up on
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall that was a good vibe. So the next verses is Nelly and who he going
it.
battle?
Ludicrous.
Ludacris, yeah.
It's hard, man.
Back for the first time. I feel like I used to be able to rap Back for the First Time in Nellyville.
Now, no,
And
no,
I probably wouldn't say Nellyville as hard as Back for the First Time.
no, man. I get it. Back for the
Like,
first time was What's Your Fantasy and all that, right?
yeah. So I feel like before you could just go online and like get the words, I used to be listening, like writing the words, like I'm gonna be able to
Yeah,
rap this shit.
I'm telling you, yeah. It's What's Your Fantasy, Fat Rabbit, Southern Hospitality.
Uh-huh.
Southern Hospitality is like a whole. Uh,
Now I probably say I like the What's Your Fantasy remix better than the original.
I don't remember who's on it. Trina.
It was Trina, Shauna, and I feel like it was another female.
I think I had Trick Foxy. Yeah, I
Who?
had it Foxy Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
had it queued
Foxy
up.
had the nastiest part of
Yeah,
the song.
I had it queued up one day. I was playing and I just played the first verse and kept going. I didn't play the whole remix. I just
Hmm.
I just wanted to hit a hook in the first verse.
Yeah.
But what? And then so now let's think about this. So now we're looking at Back for the First Time, Chris
Mhm.
Lover, and Country Grammar.
Yeah.
So why I personally love Country Grammar so much.
That
I
shit.
had a I had yeah came on like that intro right there was just like all right that's what I can do
Hmm.
now shit cool. I had the single CD and I was talking about this like a while back like how FYE you can go in and buy the single CD. I had that the single CD for Country Grammar is like 5 tracks remixes and all that.
Hmm.
But I the first time I heard Country Grammar I was in Memphis. Also, the first time I ever drank in Memphis, um, I didn't want to act like I didn't know what it was, so I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna drink." I drink Absolute wine, right? And
Hmm.
he was like, it was my homie, older homie,
Yeah.
and so he was like, "Yeah, what you chase it with?" You try to act like you don't hear somebody. Like, what? I didn't know what a chaser was. He was like,
What?
"What you chase it with?" I was like, "Man, like the usual. What you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, like orange juice." I was like, "Yeah." I'll never drink a screwdriver ever in my life, right? For that reason.
Uh,
Uh he brings the orange juice. I don't know the ratio though. I'm pouring. Man. And all I remember is hot shit. Like we had that CD single playing Country Grammar
hmm.
over and over. And I learned the song that night. And I just love the song. And it just reminds me of my very first time drinking and getting drunk.
So
But it had
I was
yeah,
super young when Country Grammar came out.
yeah.
I feel like
Oh yeah, okay.
I was in the seventh grade, I want to say.
I was so the album came out. Uh, the single came out April 2000. which was my junior, right? When I went down to,
Yeah, I was in 7th grade.
yeah, I went down to Memphis for spring break
Mm-hmm.
when I was 16. Yep, 16. Uh, EI, Ride With Me. What?
No, I was in 6th grade.
Worse and worse. Yeah, Ride With Me. I used to always
If
skip
you want
Ride
to
With
go and get sick.
I used to skip Ride With Me because I was like, that was so whack. When I tell you that was the very first song I heard in Basic, though.
Oh yeah.
Very first song I heard in Basic, and I was like, oh, I like that. I like that. I heard Ride With Me and Mesmerized by Ja Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Ja Rule and Ashanti. Those are the two songs.
Yeah.
But, like we walked past the TV, and Ride With Me was on. I'm like, yep, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got Nelly.
Nelly. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
like both.
Because you got Pimp Juice. Because I think Nellyville was solid.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had number one on there, right?
Was High and Hill was on that one too?
Yep. That's when niggas started wearing their jerseys backwards and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Air Force Ones was on there. Dilemma.
Who is that recently that said they made Air Force Ones famous?
ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, like bro, was you
Yeah.
not around when Nelly was talking about I need
Right.
2 pair?
And what year was this? 2002. I
I
was
was about to say it
working at
had to be
Finish
like
Line.
2002.
Yeah, I was working at Finish Line. So imagine people coming in there trying to be like Nelly. They want to buy 2 pair of shit.
Yeah. I
Yep.
need 2 pair. Give me 2. Yeah, that was
Jay-Z
a
said
good.
it.
Yeah. It
Uh-huh.
might be Nelly. It might be when I think about
Yeah.
all the good songs that came out during that time.
And man, is this the one? Yeah, Nelly. Yeah, Nelly. Oh, I was probably the only person that got that double CD too. That I got that. I know for a fact I got that on Active Duty.
Mm-hmm.
That sweatsuit album.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people slept on it with
What
Flap Your Wings on it.
album was Tip Drill on?
It might have been on. Shoot, let me see.
So I remember BET Uncut.
Oh yeah.
Tip Drill used to always come on.
Oh yeah.
But I remember it was a song that came out. And I
Tip
have
Drill
to
was on Country
laugh.
Grammar.
Huh?
Tip Drill was on Country Grammar.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't really like released like that. I guess like,
Mm-hmm.
it became popular with BET
Mm. But so BET Uncut, you had Tip Drill, but then it was another song. It wasn't no Nelly song. I don't know. To this day, I couldn't tell you who sang this song. But the song was like, I ain't got no panties on. I ain't
Oh,
got
on
no
the
panties
dance floor.
on.
Yeah.
And people was
Take the
telling me
panties
about
off.
this song, and I
Take
was
the
like,
panties
what?
off.
No panties on.
Yeah.
What? And I was like, they were like, yeah, it be on BET Uncut. And I literally tried to stay up to watch BET
Wax a
Uncut.
Million. You ain't
And
never see that?
to this day, I ain't seen that video, but I remember hearing it. It came like I heard it, and I woke up and I was like, it's on. And then I went back to sleep. I was like, I have to hear this song.
Yeah. That was the joint. Wax a Million.
Mm.
Yeah. Wax.
But I will
Yeah.
say the early 2000s had some good music.
Yeah. Yeah. My anytime I think about where the party at, that was my graduation song. Like the summer of my graduation,
Mm-hmm.
that was my song. Where the party at?
Yeah, good times, good times.
You were in like fifth grade.
When you graduated from high school?
Yeah, you were in like fifth grade.
You graduated when? In 01?
Mm-hmm.
I was in 7th grade. Huh?
I feel like I'm 40 years older.
You how old now? 30?
6.
36? We ain't that far apart.
37. Yeah, I'll be 37. So.
In October? Okay. I'll be 33 in November. So
That's solid for me. Would
hmm.
you 18th? 17th?
Huh?
18th or 17th?
19th.
19th. I knew it was in the 17, 17, 18. That was two. That was like striking out. I said 3 wrong dates. I knew it was in that though. I knew it was like in
You knew it was in the teens.
yeah.
The upper
Close.
teens.
Yeah, thinking both. I guess. Yeah. Dang, he'd be 33. 32.
Yeah.
So
You
about
say how I feel?
Yeah.
Whew. I definitely feel like I'm living my best life, but at the same time, 33 was supposed to be my cutoff year to have kids. I didn't think I was going to be 33 with no kids. So now I'm just like, okay, now I need to push the age back a little bit later. But,
So a lot of people like subscribe to God's plan. You got your own plan. Okay, I got it. I see how it goes. Like, whatever.
You say what?
I said, I see you subscribe to your own plan, not God's plan. Like, so it's whatever.
At this point, I'm just like, it's in God's hands.
There we go. Like, I feel like you should have walked into the game thinking that.
Yeah, I should have. But, it's one of those things like you just see your life going a certain way. I just thought my thought process of not having kids young was like, yeah, I ain't trying to have no kids young. I'm trying to live my best life, whatever. And then young passed, and it's just like, well, shit, I still ain't there.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like God has ordered my steps, and I pray that He bring me children in my future.
Look at Sarah.
You said what?
I said, look at Sarah.
Oh yeah. This is true. But
that's a great segue.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's going to wrap it up for the Kiki session. And now we're going to roll into the hot cup of cocoa.
Okay.
This week, the hot cup of cocoa is about being a man's peace and emotional intelligence.
Let me give me an oven mitt. Sheesh. Man. So being a man's peace and emotional intelligence. Tell me more.
So when I think of being a man's peace, I don't ever think you can stray away from a difference of opinion or you can't stray away from it or conflict.
Right.
So I literally think it boils down to how you approach situations and allowing there to be a dialogue.
That is very important. Very, very important. Yeah, I think one of the things, like even in just like we were talking about, like the difference in age between you and I, the difference in experiences between you and I, just like we kind of started to touch on, like fundamental like beliefs, and that's where you get that commonality.
Yeah.
So you find that commonality, but then you still recognize the things that make you different, right? And celebrate that commonality. So in talking about that, like, yeah, I don't go to London on dates. You know what I mean? Like, whereas you wouldn't uh venture to Little Rock for a weekend getaway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that you say, like, all right, this is what makes him different. This is what makes her different. The commonality. Just in saying, I know God is ordering my steps, and I'm like, I know God orders my steps, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now this is where we meet with it, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, those other things don't become non-existent. So now we're approaching the same topic, just having different experiences and different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make it right or wrong,
Right.
right?
So speaking of that, so when I was married, that was one of our issues. So you and I know we have the commonality that we know God is ordering our steps, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So with him and I, we knew we wanted to have a family, which was the commonality,
Right?
but we couldn't agree on how to get there. So therein lied the conflict. How do we resolve it?
And see, I don't think it's. I think you look at the conflict on a more like to resolve it. You looking at it on a macro level, like
Mm-hmm.
resolving it on a macro level means like, yeah, we don't have this problem no
Right.
more. Resolving it on a micro level is we still have these differences, but we
Mm-hmm. But we working through them.
navigate them. Right. We work through them in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like,
Which we
I
did not.
know there you go. And then that leads to it blows up, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you have to be willing to, and sometimes it takes you more than them. In either case, if I were a woman, I would have to take charge of me more than I could take charge of him, and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. Like, I
Right.
have to be able to take charge of me more than I can take charge of her.
Mm-hmm.
I can inspire her. I can model things to her, for her. But I cannot then say the way that I think,
Is the way that
brain
she thinks.
transplant. Yeah, and now you think that way solely because I've either shared um my morals with you, I've shared my beliefs with you, I've shared my stance on particular things with you, hoping that now you absorb those. And even in you absorbing those, it's still gonna come out different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you might be able to tell somebody something that you've experienced throughout the years of you growing up, right? Like, my parents always told me this, my parents always told me that. And sometimes you don't put it into practice, and then you put it into practice and you perfect it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we lose sight of the fact that this has been ingrained in me for years on years, and I was I was rebellious. I had to come around and realize how important this was.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't take, and sometimes we fail to take into consideration this is new to this person,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I guess the issue is, do I extend them the same grace and mercy that I was given to find it out? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if it took me 15 years of trials to understand, yes, this works, even though it hurts, this works because it's God's plan. And then you introduce that to someone, naturally you want to be like, okay, so tomorrow you're gonna start doing that, right? It don't work like that. And so you're in a place where you're like, do I like how much work do I put into creating this level of peace,
Right.
in the home? And it's like, it's not saying like you questioning out and out, backing out or whatever. It's just like you don't know, like you don't know what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So
So, so when you're having a disagreement with your significant other, do you feel like it's your responsibility to foster the environment for peace?
Y'all hear that dead air? Y'all hear all that dead air? That's me. Like, uh, responsibility? No. Not. I wouldn't say responsibility in terms of for both parties. I feel like it is my responsibility because, like, going back to what we said, like, I have to be at a place in order to approach you about this, or I have to be at a place in order to suggest this to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it does, like, you could even, like, I think you have to announce whichever stance you intend to take. Like, you could say, like, that just, I don't see you trying to make it make sense, and I'm not gonna keep fighting the fight of it not making sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could say, I see where you struggle with understanding where I'm coming from. Um, let's work through this issue so I can see what you need. Like, I can say that I feel whole about an issue, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then I guess the argument or the disagreement is the other party not feeling whole about the issue. Like, the first thing that I do is realize everybody's not me. Everybody, it does not have to agree with it, but I want to know why. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to know the logic behind why you don't, like, why it's not a yeah for you
Yeah.
situation. Like, what does it take for it to be a yeah for you?
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think are some steps that women can take to be a man's peace?
I don't want to mansplain it, and make it seem like this is just like a blanket approach.
I mean, it's not a blanket approach because every situation is different,
Right.
but speaking from a, just a general perspective,
Okay.
what are things that you feel like you and your friends discuss when if y'all even discuss, you know,
What?
when peace is not in your house?
Yeah, it's either memes or, man, she crazy. That's all we talking about. But no, I think it's just that awareness. Like, you have to be both self-aware and socially aware because you see what pushes your buttons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see what motivates you. You see what drives you. You see what interests you. You see what keeps you. And having that self-awareness of, like, what you need is great. And the social awareness comes in when it's like, I know what I need, but I'm existing and I'm having interpersonal communication with someone else who may have a whole different set of what they need, how they see things, and what they're willing to commit to, like, different things. And so once you get on that same page of, yeah, this is how I see it, this is what I'm willing to commit to, and then this is what I want. Like, you have those three levels, and then you have to be able to look on the outside, well, from the inside looking out to the people who are on the outside, and say, what are the barriers or inhibitors from getting that same level of understanding? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do? And I was reading the energy codes, and it last night, the part that it really broke it down, and it said a lot of times we view things as a block, like anything that's a block, we think it of as a barrier,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually a gap. So what are you doing to fill that gap? Not so much what are you doing to try to get around this barrier. Like, if there's a disagreement, if there's a misunderstanding, that's a gap. That's not a block. It's not a roadblock. So it's what are you doing to fill that gap with what's needed to get from point A to point B,
Mm-hmm.
or to get from misunderstanding to understanding.
Right. And I get that. So what if the situation, like, of course you don't necessarily, okay, so there is a difference of opinions, and you see it's not going your way, or do you get to that point of understanding where you understand where she is coming from, or is the goal solely to get what you want?
Nah, it has to go both ways. Like, you have to be able to see like the needs of the other party, because it's stakeholder relationships. Like, who who all plays a part in this is important, because it'll help to inform where we're going, right? So not only am I like not only am I sure of what I want and what I need, but it's like I said, it's a stakeholder relationship where I need these things, but is this best for the relationship? Like, I'm an introvert, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could go into my classroom every day, uh, give out packets, and you do the packets because that benefits me, that serves me better. No, like, I have 60 students, they need some sort of level of interaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to step outside of myself for the good of the relationship. So, but there sometimes you do have to preserve yourself, though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just you can't give everything for the sake of making this thing better, because that thing is gonna be better, and you're gonna feel like trash.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't benefit from
Right.
it.
Okay,
Make sense?
okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Um, so what has your experience with relationships taught you about your emotional intelligence?
Um, what I would say, what I'll say it taught me is being aware of it. Like, being aware of it and knowing that that's my or I would say my armor and my ammunition in any situation. Like, I can't be anybody that I'm not, and experiences shape who we are.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, man, even using that analogy of um, weaponry, right? I
Mm-hmm.
could walk around with a sword, I could walk around with a gun, but do I need to walk into a peaceful situation shooting? Absolutely not. But it just teaches me how to respond in certain situations. It teaches me where I need to respond in certain situations. It makes sense?
Mm-hmm. So, when I deal with guys, I think, and just because you're older doesn't necessarily mean that you got it figured out,
Uh
or
huh.
you know, what you're doing. But I I have gravitated towards older men because I feel like they do have a level of emotional intelligence that I need.
More likely.
Hmm.
More likely.
More likely, yes.
Yeah. They
Uh,
ain't.
because like I said, age don't necessarily mean that.
There we go. There we go.
But and even when I date men around the same age, I'm still looking for that emotional intelligence, but sometimes it just ain't there,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like because I have been to therapy, I've been doing the work, I feel like I'm in tune with my emotions, and I understand how to listen to somebody else's wants and needs and emotions, and be understanding of how they process things. But I don't feel like I have been met with the same emotional intelligence.
So you don't feel like, but what? Give me an example of like evidence. I'm doing a lesson on supporting evidence. Give me an example. Give me some evidence that shows that that has been the case. Like that is not what you like. You haven't gotten the results that you intended to get.
So I feel like this one individual I have dealt with, we have on numerous of occasions talked about communicating with each other, what it is that we feel, what it is that we want, and just keeping the lines of communication open.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even though I have expressed to him that, even if what you feel is not favorable when you say
Mm-hmm.
it, because sometimes you could be thinking something and just be like, but I don't want to hurt this person's feelings or
Yeah.
whatever. But if I told you, be straight up with me, that's what I anticipate you to do, regardless of how you think it's going to make me feel. Because then
So
I feel you've given me the decision, the option to make the decision on whether I can agree with what you're saying, not agree with you saying, or just be done with the situation altogether.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, one thing I feel like men don't get is that honesty is a part of that emotional intelligence.
That's true.
And
So
you can get so much further with someone if you just be honest.
yeah, and going back, how long do you think it took? Do you think you were naturally born with that skill?
Um, if I
Or
don't think
strengthened
I was
through
I don't think
relationships?
I was born with this skill. No.
Do you
But
think it's strengthened through relationships?
huh?
Do you think it's strengthened through relationships?
I feel like I definitely think emotional intelligence strengthens a relationship. I feel that it emotional intelligence allows for certain conversations to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it allows for, and really to me, it all boils down to being able to communicate your thought
Right.
effectively. And we ain't born with that skill. It's something that you learn throughout life. Um, but you would just think to be in your 30s or older, especially with people who have dating experience or long-term dating experience, that they would learn these things.
How though? Have they? So I think the only like way that you could truly, truly, truly be fair in expectations is if the situations mirrored each other, right? Like nobody has gotten up and walked your walk every day of your life, right? I mean, walk your walk every day of their life to
Mm,
be able to get to a place where it's like, oh yeah, when I see this based on our experiences, this is how we should react, right? Everybody's walk of life is different, and so I think that's where the frustration comes in when this learned behavior, like some of the negative learned behavior, like overrides the logical behavior,
mhm.
right? But when you've been putting that into practice so long, that becomes the norm. And that's I think that's my question back to you. Like, how long does it take for it to become the norm for them? So I think you would probably have to, in terms of emotional intelligence, you probably have to dissect. how long did it take for it to become a norm for you? You were immersed in it.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think it's going to take for this person to um, become a subject matter expert in it? It'd be natural for them having been like with being taught it or being exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And I
like
and I get that. Like having patience
mm-hmm,
to work with somebody for them to gain that emotional intelligence, because it don't happen overnight.
right.
Um but I also think that goes along with that person being willing
Mm-hmm.
to work on it.
And so I think going back to what you said about communication, like I think you have to when you fault when there's a fault or when there's a failure, having some sort of like dialogue because I think in the like in the corporate world or in our jobs, like we thrive on feedback, but we don't do that as much, and we don't like have a structured feedback loop personally.
Mhm. I can
You know,
definitely see that.
like being able to give that feedback, give and accept that feedback, so that it's not a recurring issue. Like I think feedback is so important because it gives that opening to how I feel, what I feel, why I did what I did, why I act the way that I act. Like you see that. So I think feedback starts as simple as I ain't like that.
Mm,
And you know,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And but it has to be like if you're giving adjustment or affirming feedback, you gotta get something to support that. Like why didn't you like that? What didn't you like about it? I'm
Mm,
not saying you gotta have a rubric, but you have to have some that goes back to standards and values. Like I don't like this because, you know, and this is who I am as a person. This is how I was raised as a person. And this is why I don't. And now boom, pass the ball. Like so what is your thing? You know, like it could be, oh I never knew that came across that way. Um and then the action part is important. Like either you could say, fuck what you talking about, like that was weak, I ain't mean it like that, you weak. Or it could be like, I ain't mean it like that. And I recognize that I may be more, like I may be giving more to it than it needs to have,
mm-hmm.
you know? So it's just all about like the many nuances of how people respond to that feedback.
Yes. And I think we can tie this back into um being a man's peace
Uh-huh.
is being open to having that feedback and dialogue.
Yep. And being
Uh,
wrong.
hmm?
And being wrong.
Yeah. Like being
Yeah.
able to admit your faults.
Yeah. Just
Um,
coming to something like with a completely different understanding.
mhm.
And
Yeah, especially when you've heard the other person's perspective and you really take it into consideration. And sometimes you may have to walk away from the conversation to really digest what the other person is saying.
right. And
Um,
but the agreement is that it doesn't stop there. It doesn't end
right. No, I mean, you still got to come back and address
there.
the
Yeah.
situation at hand. But I feel like come back with an alternative, or come back, like you said, admit your fault.
Yeah. Alternative or an admission. Like
Mhm.
either or.
Yeah.
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 So
I
yeah.
think the whole concept of like I'm just not an arguer.
Uh-huh.
Like I get sometimes you have to. I just don't like yelling. I
Yeah.
just don't like arguing. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just have a conversation than to be yelling back and forth with each other. And I feel like if I ever get to a point, because I do just be super chill. You know what I'm saying? Even when something is brought to my attention that is bad on the other person's part, I still address it in a super calm manner because
Yeah.
I just want to know. I want to understand. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can get more out of you if I just talk to you versus yelling at you. And if
Right.
I ever get to the point where I'm yelling at you, the end of the relationship is very near
I understand.
because I feel like you have now taken me outside of my character. And I find myself, well, of course, I can't end a relationship at work, but I do find that if I ever get to the point where I'm yelling at a subordinate or I feel like I have to go in too hard when I'm talking to a supervisor or something,
Yeah.
like I'm fed up with you.
Yeah. And is that so even with that situation, like is that an established or agreed upon norm? Like or are people left to figure that out?
No, you gonna know how I feel.
How? No, what I'm saying, like, how do they know that that's what that means? Like that anger, frustration means that I'm checked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Um,
Like, or is it like because I'm now like I've been working, I'm willing to work with you so long, and now that I start to yell, you should know that this is what that means.
Now this could be lack of emotional intelligence on my behalf,
Okay, I
but
appreciate you.
common sense to me because I'm so chill most of the time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like just knowing the person that you're with, you know what I'm saying, and how they react to things. I feel like if you know the person that you're with is typically like chill, cool, let's talk it out. You know what I'm saying? And they to the point where they're yelling at you or they a lot more short with you. You know, that should be an indicator
Yeah,
to be
like once
like,
you know, yeah, the
this
shit.
is abnormal.
Yeah,
Let me try and figure out how to communicate what I'm saying to this person. Or, how can I make it to where this person, I can get this person to listen to me again?
uh-huh. uh, makes sense, makes sense. So, but is
Because that's
when
definitely how I process things. But like
okay,
we said before, everybody processes things differently. But when I am in that situation, like when I notice differences in how they interact with me, it's just like, okay, because I do like to observe. It's just like, okay, I know he mad at me. I know I done pissed him off. How can I
hmm,
make this better?
and you're having that conversation with
Myself.
Clint. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Myself.
And yep. So it's like I think through all of the solutions, all these potential solutions without like considering the source. You know, like
Mhm.
every kid isn't a visual learner, and I feel like yeah, I'm just gonna show y'all this. I don't know why they don't get it, right? And this is me working through how I would do it. I'm gonna get the results that I would have gotten from teaching myself that
Mhm.
instead of considering like, wait, where wasn't I clear? What did I what did I misunderstand? Um, like where can I go back and fix, I guess fix what I where I messed up, like, and so that the other party will know where I'm coming from, and then
Mm-hmm.
now we can move forward, and this won't happen again.
I mean, so when I'm having this conversation to myself, like going through my observations, of this person and how they interact, whatever their personality traits, um, I'm thinking about this situation. So yeah, I'm having this conversation with myself, but I'm also thinking about how do I approach this with this person. So I'm not just sitting here like, oh, I'm just going to do XYZ and everything is going to be better. It's just like, okay, let me really think about what this person said that, or what I said that led to them going off on me.
Right.
Um, and I just feel it goes back to being able to admit where you're wrong or come with an alternative.
Well, who's wrong is it though? Like, how is the onus of responsibility on me if I've never been taught that that is a wrong? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never, like, if I never knew that it was wrong to jaywalk, like, and then the first interaction that I get with jaywalking is getting arrested. It's like I'm gonna be so frustrated and so mad because it's like, when did somebody tell me that jaywalking was a crime? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Since like I might be less likely to jaywalk again, but now it's like I built up some resentment a little bit because of the way that I was corrected. It wasn't like I was corrected like, hey, normally you don't walk down these streets, but hey, when you start walking down the streets, don't jaywalk. You know, and that, I think that's the open and honesty part. Like, that has to happen before the failure,
Mm-hmm.
before the misunderstanding, the misconception.
Yeah,
Like,
that has to happen for sure.
yeah,
So I think I'm speaking from we've been together for a while. So
okay,
maybe it's already established. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, somewhat.
So of course,
Still,
when
he's still a different person. Regardless,
you say what?
I say he's still a different person.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And then, but of course, in the beginning, you have to figure out, because everything ain't cut and dry,
Right.
you know? Um, but I feel like being able to comprehend that something is wrong based on the other
Yeah,
person's behavior,
that's against.
that there needs to be a conversation
Uh huh.
as to
Who
where the
to have
disconnect
that though?
was. Hmm?
Who needs to have that though?
I feel like it would be nice for the person with the issue
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to verbalize that. But if they aren't able to, I feel like that's where the other person comes in and, brings it up like, hey, we had this conversation and I felt like you shut down. Can you tell me why?
And so, yeah, I could understand that, like, asking for clarity.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. Like, not just assuming and allow and accepting failure. Asking for clarity, not assuming, and
Mm-hmm.
not accepting failure. Those are huge.
Because sometimes it takes for the other person to open up that line of communication, because maybe it's not something that the other person knows how to do just yet.
Hmm. So, yeah, you have to be willing to be taught and teach.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be willing taught to be taught and to teach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that is going to wrap it up for the hot cup of cocoa this week. You
Yeah.
know, Deebo, I appreciate you coming on the show this week. I appreciate you for giving me the beat. Um, do you have any final
Point.
words for this?
Uh, be a better listener. That goes to the world, you know. You be a better listener.
Mm-hmm.
And see how far they get. You know, that's just me.
So, being a better listener is step one to being
Mm-hmm.
a man's place of peace.
Yep.
All right.
There we go.
Again, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you guys for tuning in as usual. Stay tuned for next week's episode. If you have any Ask Coco questions, you can email me at kikiandwithcocopie@gmail.com. I will add both mine and Deebo's IGs to the episode description. And that's all I got. So thanks again for tuning in. Bye.